And welcome back, everybody, to the TV show. I'm Jay Black, joined every week by the in sync Rhea, Hughes, and Angelo Cataldi. They both logged on to the Zoom at the exact same moment, like they were on the phone before they came in. But it's just a mental link. And I was saying I was super excited about this show because a lot of times, we coordinate before we do the show, and I'm always curious as to your thoughts. But in this particular instance, especially for this first topic, I want your insight, your sports expertise, because it seems odd to me that the NBA just had its second lowest finals of all time. The only finals that was lower was during COVID, when they were in those weird, creepy, ghost-like empty stadiums.
The bubble.
The bubble.
Yes.
But this is the lowest rated non-COVID season of the NBA ever. And the NHL is up 25% year over year. It's one of the highest rated Stanley Cups of all time. Now, granted, only 9 people watch the Stanley Cup finals. So if like one more person watches, it goes up huge. But it does seem odd to me that the NBA is about to sign a $76 billion contract with ratings that are in the toilet, and the NHL is up. Can you explain this to me? Rhea, what is your insight? What's happening here?
It's what we say all the time. Stars, stars, stars. Listen, good, real, and I don't want to say real NBA fan, but NBA fans. I'm a person who actually did watch the NBA Finals because I'm a basketball fan. I know who Jason Tatum is. I know who Jaylen Brown is. I know who Drew Holiday is because the Sixers drafted him and then shipped him out as part of the process. Casual fans don't know those guys real well. They know who LeBron is. They know who Steph Curry is. They knew who Michael Jordan was. They don't have stars. And save for game 2, the games were the least competitive I've ever seen in a final. 26-point deficit, 21-point deficit. The Mavericks, the one game they won, they were up huge. The only game they got good numbers was game 2, which was competitive. So, I mean, that's my thing. Non-competitive games and not huge stars.
Angelo, you agree?
As a start, yeah, I am a justice guy, and I would love to believe that what's happening right now with the ratings in the NBA are justice for years of abusing their fans. All right, load management, the evil cloud over the game. A star player may or may not play, and if he comes to your city, be careful, because you might be buying tickets and never see LeBron James and never see Joel Embiid. That's part of it, all right? They've abused their fans for years. They don't care. They don't care about their regular season. Over time, the interest has become less and less. How do I know this? I'm retired now. I only have to watch it if I want to watch it, right? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Rhea may lose consciousness. Ladies and gentlemen, in the past 2 months, I have watched more of the WNBA than the NBA. You know why? Because the games are better.
The games are better.
Rivalry that's going on between Caitlin Clark and what's her name? Angel Reese and the other woman that knocked her down. It's interesting. You understand? The NBA is not interesting. And in our home city of Philadelphia, there's no worse ratings poison than having Boston in the finals. I didn't watch a second of it, not 1 second of it. And I've watched some of the NHL. I'm telling you, the NBA product stinks now. It's 3-pointers and load management and all the things. It's not real anymore. I don't know why anybody's paying all that money for it.
You're right about the 3-pointers. They're either going to have to move it back, because nobody just wants to see guys come down and launch up threes. The women's game, the ball moves around. It does move around. One of the games, here's the crazy thing, Jay. One of the games drew half of what the women's NCAA championship drew. I mean, that's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and by the way, load management sounds like a Catholic form of birth control that doesn't work. Sorry, just
I like that one a lot. That's really good.
Well, let me just ask real fast about the NHL for a second, because it was Florida and Edmonton in the NHL finals, in which nobody's going to say, are powerhouses of the NHL. Like Edmonton is an old school team. You know, Wayne Gretzky played for them and beat the Flyers and all
Connor
that.
McDavid, and he's a superstar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it because I don't follow this stuff closely. Are they up just as a blip, or is the NHL having a moment right now, or is it bigger stars, or is it just the thing that I said where if you have a very small number of people watching, it only takes a little bit of extra interest to get those big numbers? Any thoughts on that?
I would love to believe that the return to hockey by a man named Keith Jones has had a major impact in North America, because he was our partner for many years, and now he's the president of the Flyers, and he's just the greatest guy, and I wish him nothing but success. I don't really understand it. I think Rhea's partly right that there's a big star playing, and that helps some. And I think the big reason is because no one was watching. So if 3 people watch, that's 3 more than were watching before. I don't think it's a sudden sign that the NHL is about to become big and the NBA is going away. The NHL will never get close to the NBA in numbers, because in our country, kids play basketball, but very few play hockey.
There's too much expense and effort to play. My across the street neighbor is big into hockey, and they're up 4 a.m. every morning, taking them God knows where to play. Just as a corollary to the $76 billion that the NBA is about to make, Charles Barkley announced his retirement, that he was no longer going to. We've been talking about Charles Barkley a lot. You guys know Charles. Is this a negotiating tactic, or is he actually out? Is he going to be signing a $250 million deal next year, or what's happening? Rhea?
There's virtually no chance that Charles is going to retire. I think he's kind of threatened this for years.
Yeah.
Number one, I think he just likes what he does. I mean, and if you like what you do and you can make a bazillion bucks, and you also love to gamble, this is no secret. Charles loves to gamble.
Right.
I think that there's no chance that they don't throw a bazillion dollars at it. I think he's being emotional. I do believe him when he says, I don't ever want to work for anybody but TNT. He loves that place. He loves the people he works with. But I think when it comes down to it and it goes away from TNT, he will be working again.
Do too. As someone who retired several times before he actually retired, I feel like I'm an expert on this. And here's all I need to say about Charles Barkley. This is my favorite Charles Barkley thing. Years ago, he wrote an autobiography, and it came out, Jay. And in the autobiography, there was some very controversial comments, which I do not recall. But then, in the only time it's ever happened in the history of publishing, Charles Barkley claimed he was misquoted, even though he wrote the book.
Yes.
So Charles Barkley cannot be trusted with this retirement this threat. He will. Rhea's 100% right. He will be back.
I'm hoping we nab him as a 4th host on this show.
Yes.
That would be good.
Bring him in. All right. So speaking of $76 billion, one of the players that is going to be spending a tremendous amount of money for the NBA is NBC. And I sent you an article that I just found astounding, like just astounding to me, that NBC is going to be canceling or firing Seth Meyers' band on his late night show because they can no longer afford to pay to have a band on the show. Now, I know the economics of broadcast television are bad, but surely it can't be this bad. How much could it possibly cost to have a live band for Seth Meyers? I can't believe it. I want to talk about that, but I also want to ask you, Angelo, you've worked in radio for a number of years. And so far as I know, the only people who pinch pennies worse than network executives are radio executives.
Pathetic.
So you have some insight on this. Is it possible that they don't have the money for this, Angelo? What's going on?
Very much. They always have the money, and they only give it to you if you point a gun at their head. Like I almost left for Boston because they made an offer for me at WEEI to double my salary when I first started at WIP. And WIP had been crying poor. And the minute they doubled my salary, WIP matched it and I stayed. So somehow they had twice the money, all right? And that kept happening. But here's the ultimate, all right? So we hit the coronavirus pandemic, and there was no one at WIP more vital to our success than Cindy Webster, our marketing director. She was the liaison to all the teams that we talked about. She kept the peace between us. She got us all sorts of stuff that we could use as giveaway. She was brilliant, and she was being paid pennies, Jack.
Yeah.
And they couldn't wait to cut her. She was cut. She was fired after 28 years.
Crazy.
And the only way she got back was when I refused to return until she came back. And the fact of the matter is, if you don't see the value of somebody who is really promoting your brand 10 times more than her salary, and you can't see to keep her, then you don't know what you're doing. And I'm sure that's part of what's going on with NBC, although broadcast TV right now is a corpse.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for the autopsy.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense, because I don't understand how much money they're being paid. I mean, it's like the NFL. The
Right.
NFL cut their staff at the NFL Network, which
Yeah.
there's a lot of good people there that I know they cut, and they've got billions and billions and billions of dollars. So it's just an accountant going, we don't really need them. It's not important.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yes.
And I think it's, I've talked about this at length. The shows, Seth Meyers, Jimmy Kimmel, they're no longer appointment television because no one wants to stay up that late. So they're basically YouTube generation vehicle at this point. Because
It's the only place I see it. It's the only place I see it.
My son watches Seth Meyers every day on YouTube in the morning when he's flipping through. It's how we consume SNL in this family as well. We watch it the next day on YouTube or on Peacock. So I guess the band is not important if you're not trying to keep an hour-long show going. But it just seems to me, if you have $3 billion for the NBA, you certainly have a couple of thousand for a drummer.
Yes.
I mean, or a sax player, something.
It is bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is bizarre.
Yeah, it feels like all of broadcasting everywhere is full of pound wise, penny foolish people, and maybe pound foolish as well. But they say, or penny wise, pound foolish, excuse me, where they're squeezing pennies but not seeing the big picture.
Yeah.
Now, there's two shows that I want to talk about that Angelo and Rhea, I know you have no interest in because you're not dorks. You dated in high school, apparently.
Very cool.
You're cool. But as a dork, the resident dork, I wanted to talk about it, not for the shows in particular, but for the big picture of it. There are two shows right now. The Acolyte, which is a Star Wars show about Jedi, and The Boys, which is about superheroes, but really it's about conservative America because it's a satire of Donald Trump. And this fourth season, the satire, the distance between the subject and the satire has shrunk. So for the first time, the people who are watching these shows are like, wait, are they making fun of me? And it's like, they have been for 4 years. You're just realizing it now. And the big sin of The Acolyte is that there are people of color and women that are being centered and not white men.
How dare they?
Very upsetting to a small group of people out there.
Yes.
So what they're doing is they're review bombing on Rotten Tomatoes. They're going on creating accounts and attacking the shows. Now, they did this in the past with the female Ghostbusters and the Captain Marvel movie, both women-led movies. Rhea, I don't know if you know this. You probably don't. There is some misogyny in media. I don't know if you're aware of this. Apparently with movies, Rotten Tomato is able to make it so that you have to be verified of having seen the movie now to review it, but they can't do that with TV. So you got a small group of weirdos attacking these shows. Is this Rhea, is it the price of having crowdsourced reviews, or is there a mandate, or should there be a mandate to police this to make the reviews a little bit more usable? Or is this just a meta review that in general, like, the fact that they're attacking these shows, does Rotten Tomatoes have a mandate to stop it?
Well, I have to say, I was shocked by this because I do really rely on Rotten Tomatoes to help me. When I can't find something, I'm like, this kind of, and I go to it. So I looked into it, the review bombing, they're able to figure it out because it's all these suddenly new accounts that have just started, when the show came on, and they have nothing but the bare minimum of what the show plot is.
Right.
And the Acolyte, I was shocked. The disparity between critics, 93%, and the audience was 32%. I mean, that's almost a 66% difference. So yeah, I think because like I said, I rely on Rotten Tomatoes. And when I see that kind of disparity, because I actually do go on, I read critic reviews and I read audience reviews.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to be like, all right, if there's nothing on this review, this is a bot. And I just think that's wrong. Just because, you've got a lesbian showrunner, you've got a female lead, you've got an Asian lead, for whatever your politics are, I just think, God, get a hobby. Find something to do.
Get a
Like,
girlfriend.
Get a girl. Review a show for whether you like it or don't like it. If it's not your genre, don't watch it. It's real simple.
I'd like to throw my full support behind review bombing. I think it's a good phenomenon, and the reason why is because it only actually would work on an awful show. If a show is great and lots of people liked it, you could not possibly organize any sort of a mass thing. People, by their very nature, Jay, are unbelievably lazy. All right. Yeah. Most people, if they don't like something, won't even go to the trouble of bashing it. They'll let it go. So I'm thinking that The Acolyte and The Boys are awful shows. I kind of knew that when you started it, because Rhea and I have too much good taste to even bother with it. And we're not dorks like you. We're very cool.
True. That's
so
true.
I'm thinking, Jay, that I'm in favor of it. And here's the irony to me, though. Now we've got more accusations of vote rigging, like we did in the 2020 election.
Yeah.
Right.
What can we trust anymore in this world? Could you tell me that? Now, before you used to accept defeat, right? Now it's always the other guy's problem.
Yeah.
There's a conspiracy against you. And frankly, at some point, we all need to grow up a little bit and accept the results of the vote. How about that?
Well, ever since I lost homeroom rep in 7th grade, I have not trusted the vote for sure. I will say that the phenomenon of review bombing, one of the things that I learned early on, and this is a trick that I picked up on Amazon.com, I never read the 1-star or the 5-star reviews. I only read 2, 3, and 4. Because if you're putting a 5-star review, I always feel like the fix is in a little bit. And the same with a 1-star. 1-star reviews is usually like got delivered late. I'm like, that's not a review of the product.
No,
so exactly. I try to just read the ones that actually have some in there. I'm wondering if the way to fight this is more bots, Rhea. Meaning that get a bot that only gives you the 2 to 4-star reviews so that you can actually read them, and just discounts all the people that hated it and loved it. That's that was
quick story on 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5-star reviews. I never had to deal with it until I wrote the book Loud. And on Amazon, they give reviews. I didn't read any of the 5, 4, 3, or 2s.
You read the ones.
The ones, because I knew they hated me. Yeah. And I tried to figure out who they actually were. Because I wanted to get their email address and pan their review. But I'll tell you something. I know they do it on Uber. There's a lot of other places now that use these reviews. When you get a 1-star, it stings. No matter what, you go, are they right? Could they be right that I'm a moron?
Angelo, I am very proud of my 4.93 Uber review.
Wow. Really?
Out of 5. Just like to say, I'd like to point that out.
But somebody must have brought you down a little.
Well, because I think the whole point is nobody ever wants to give you the 5, but they go, give her a 4.9.
Right. Yeah.
I got you.
Just as a FYI, as someone who has a fairly large Twitter account that's fairly liberal in his politics and tweets a lot, I have gotten, I'm 10,000 tweets in calling me an idiot. And it stops stinging eventually, Angela. You just got to get a callus over your soul,
Yes.
I don't know. I just want to know who they are so I can go to their homes.
Well, I'll say one thing that is absolutely certain. There is a 1 5-star person in all of retail everywhere. 5 stars from everybody who goes there. And I'm told, Rhea, that you
Yes.
were at Steven Singer this
Yes.
weekend, so you could give us your 5-star review of our sponsor, Steven
So
Singer.
yes, Steven Singer. So Clark's got a girlfriend, and they had a birthday party on Friday night. So I said, all right, I'm going to take you to sit. Now we always tell you, Steven Singer is great for any budget. You want to get the most beautiful diamond ring in the world, great. You're a almost 15-year-old kid who wants to get his girlfriend, his first real girlfriend, something nice, but you're not going crazy for. We go in, it's an amazing place. First of all, right there at the other corner of 8th and Walnut. And I went in, and the guy we were working with, I said, he's got a budget of around $100 because we're not going to go crazy. This is his first girlfriend. They brought out the most beautiful bracelets. He had a whole section of necklaces. He goes, these necklaces, these are all around $100. He got a beautiful sterling silver necklace with a little star on it that had, diamond chips on it. He was over the moon, absolutely loved it. And Clark was very excited. He got his first account. They said, do you want it, Rhea, on your account or his account? I said, oh, no, he gets his own account now. So they took great care of us. But like I said, you don't have to go crazy. You walk in there, you tell them what your budget is, and that's all they're going to show you. They are not ever going to upsell you. You're going to have a great time. And whoever gets the gift, you will absolutely love it.
And 12 years from now, he might be back there for the hardware. Who knows, Rhea? Sometimes the first one's the best one.
Who knows? You never know.
Yeah, I did.
Better than Steven Singer. Rhea nailed it.
Yeah.
He's great. You'll love him. I promise.
You can go to IHateStevenSinger.com if you want to check it out. That is in our description below. Check it out there. Our great sponsor, Steven Singer. We thank you so much for sponsoring the podcast. And if Rhea's son's girlfriend is listening, you're not just the first, you're the only. We got to make sure they understand that, Rhea. It's it's going to last forever. My son's got his first girlfriend right now, and my daughters keep going, well, when are you guys getting married? And my son keeps going, but can we pump the brakes just a little bit on this?
I want to say something here, Jay.
Yeah.
Rhea Hughes, when she really wanted to zing me, when we worked together, you know what she would say?
Yeah.
She would say, hey, Angelo, you only dated 2 women in your whole life, and you married both of them. It was untrue, but it hurt.
I think that we figured out the 1-star review that said that might have been from Rhea Hughes on Loud. Another 5-star review program is Rhea Hughes's British Corner. What do you got for us this week, Rhea?
Well, this was really cool because, as you know, I'm just back from London. So I watched this show called Cobra. Now, I don't do a lot of political thrillers. You know me, I'm more mystery, police, detective, that kind of thing. But this show is called Cobra. 3 seasons. It's on Amazon Prime, and it's a political thriller. What I loved about it was all the shots of London. I was like, was there, I was there, was on the Ferris wheel, what they call the eye. So it kind of was really cool to me. But so what it's about is it's about the Prime Minister, his chief of staff, who I really like. Her name is Victoria Hamilton. A lot of people know her from The Crown. She played the Queen Mum for a couple of seasons. So it's a lot of politics, but they're dealing with a space storm, which apparently is a real thing. So they've got all the scientists, and this storm is going to cause disruptions to planes while they're in the air, shut off power. So it's a huge crisis. And the crisis manager, Jay, I know you're a Game of Thrones fan, is played by Richard Dormer, who was the Lightning Lord in Game of Thrones. I reviewed a show called Blue Lights that he's in. He's an Irish actor. He's fantastic. Anna, who's the chief of staff, I love her. Kind of think Madam Secretary with David Duchovny's wife.
I know who you're talking about.
Tori something.
We have the internet. We can look this up. Hold on.
So just think of like Madam Secretary, but it's in Britain, because she's kind of like the star of the show.
Tia Leone.
Tia Leone. That's it.
He's still with her. He's still with her. He's still.
I don't know. No, I don't think they're still together, but they were together for a long time.
They divorced in 2014. Yeah.
He's had a sex addiction. You know how that that'll just ruin any marriage if the sex addiction is not with your wife. Just to decide. So the prime minister is dealing with this whole crisis with the storm, but he's got a daughter who just graduated college. She and friends did a bunch of drugs the night. he's got to cover up a a scandal with his daughter, but he's not a bad guy, Prime Minister. I kind of like him. The bad guy is the Home Secretary, David Haig. This guy is a reason sometimes the bad guy is the reason to watch the show. He's got the best lines. You know he's about to do a lot of bad things. So I just finished season 1. I really like it. It's called Cobra, and it's available on Amazon Prime.
Cobra on Amazon Prime, and it's not a remake of the Sylvester Stallone 1987 movie Cobra.
It is not. It's a British
su-
TV show.
I got super excited. Marion Cobretti's back, but apparently not. And do we have a teen corner this week?
We do. This one, I'm shocked that that Clark watched it, but I wasn't around because he's down the shore for the week hanging out with my brother because he's off before he starts camp. It's called Fallout on Amazon Prime.
Yes.
It is it's based off of a video game. It's like post-apocalyptic. Why am I not
apocalyptic?
Apocalyptic. LA, and it's like 200 years after it's been destroyed, and you have people who've been living below the city and then people above the city, and it's just insane. I went and watched an episode. It's insanely violent. However, it's also got a lot of humor in it.
Very funny.
Actually what people say, it's one of the few TV shows or movies made from a video game that's actually pretty good. And Clark liked it. He said it's kind of like The Walking Dead, not as good as The Walking Dead, but he really liked it. He just thought it, but it's I will just say for anybody younger than 15, which my kid will be for about another month or so, it's very violent. Jay, you've seen it?
I've seen it. Yeah, we've talked about it briefly. Angelo did not like the aesthetic on it. Did not appreciate it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. Just from a production standpoint, what if the 1950s had continued into the 2100s? And I just enjoy living in that world. It's a very well realized world. But that's just me and Clark. I think Angelo's out.
Yes. Out. Well, Clark really liked it. I did have to explain some of the night. He asked me a couple things about the 1950s, and I said, shockingly, Clark, that's even before my time. So.
All right, Angelo, what do you got for us?
Let me just say, if you would like me definitely not to watch your show, just identify it as based on a video game, and I will never watch your show.
No.
Okay, but I got a couple of new shows that I'm very excited about because of 2 fantastic performances. The Emmys are coming up in a couple of months, and I want to feature these performances. One is in a brand new show on Apple Plus that is great. I saw the movie. I read the book. The book was called Presumed Innocent. It was by Scott Turow, great writer. They ended up making a very good movie in 1990 with Harrison Ford in the lead role. Yep. Now they've turned it into an 8-part miniseries featuring Jake Gyllenhaal. Now, I was never a Jake Gyllenhaal fan, and I even saw him on Broadway in a play called Constellations with Ruth Wilson. I went to see Ruth, obviously.
Yes.
But then Jay got me watching him in Roadhouse.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
Him in Roadhouse.
Yeah.
And I went, let's see how he does in the lead role, Rusty Savage, who is a prosecutor who has an affair with a beautiful other prosecutor from the same office. And then she turns up dead. And right away, he becomes the lead suspect. And it explores this much more than the movie, explores the impact on his family and his kids. And he's led away. The very second episode, he's led away to prison. And it is just really good. I'm telling you, he is so good in it. It's got a dark, eerie feel to it. Flashbacks of really hot sex.
Ha.
And this is, you almost never see that anymore in mainstream stuff. No. They brought some of that back as well. And I just got to tell you something now. Jake Gyllenhaal, he's phenomenal. You can't take your eyes off. Yeah. He's really good in this. And I think, now they're not giving you a binge. I only got to see the first 2 episodes. That's all that have been available. It looks fantastic. And it looks fantastic primarily because of the performance of Jake Gyllenhaal. And then the other one, and this is normally not in my realm. It's a story of a woman who at 32 begins to question her sexuality, right?
That's definitely not your genre.
And it is played, the lead role is played by Dakota Johnson.
Sure.
From 50 Shades of Grey. And let me just say, that did her a disservice, that tawdry 3-part, it was so sex oriented, but kind of stupid sex. And the whole thing was dumb. She's actually a phenomenal actress.
Yeah.
And her parents are Don Johnson and I'm sorry,
Melanie Griffith.
Melanie Griffith. And let me just say, somehow through a genetic miracle, all of the very best parts of both of them became Dakota Johnson. She is insanely beautiful. I mean, you would watch it just for that. But she's really good in it. The girl that plays her best friend is really good in it. The scenes where she's exploring her sexuality are actually very, very tastefully done. And it's not a great movie. It's a good movie. It's called Am I Okay? And it's on Max, starring David Zaslav. But it's really, I'll tell you what, it's the best thing I've seen on Max in a long time. And it's worth your time just for the performance of Dakota Johnson.
I'm interested in it because so many women who dated me have questioned their sexuality as well. So I'm very interested to see this.
Yeah.
I have a quick recommend that I did not put in the email, and I'm embarrassed about it. I'm very embarrassed about it. You guys are going to mock me for it. But there is a YouTuber named Jenny Nicholson, and she does deep dives. She does 3 to 4 hour documentary deep dives on pop culture. And she's got one that has racked up 9 million views.
Wow.
On the Star Wars hotel in Disney World and what a disaster it is. I know. I know. Listen to me. I didn't watch it in one sitting. I have a life. I watched it in half-hour increments. I just want to say, Jenny Nicholson, I've watched some of her other stuff. She is just a talented young woman who's able to hold your attention with information and good humor. And I just get amazed at somebody who can sit and talk into a camera like she does and put together 4 hours worth of entertaining content. If you're looking for something to just, middle reliever, killing pitches, killing innings, you're just trying to kill some innings, you can't go wrong. Jenny Nicholson is a very talented young woman. If I was a network executive, I'd give her a budget and say, what do you want to do? Because she is able to hold your attention, and her other content is very good as well. The spectacular disaster of the Star Wars hotel, available on YouTube now. Check it out. Worth your time. Kill some innings, ladies and gentlemen.
Go over to Angelo's later today, and we're going to watch it together.
and make fun of me the entire time.
I don't have to set the time. She knows the time. We're telepathically connected. Let me go through today.
Sure.
Today, you can still watch the NHL and continue to increase its numbers because they are playing again on Friday on ABC, Game 6 of the finals. Seth Meyers, if you want to see his show without a band, it is available at 12:30 every night on NBC. The Boys are on Amazon, and the Acolyte, a Star Wars thing, is on Disney Plus. I've got Cobra. Rhea's recommendation for a British thing is on Amazon Prime, as is Fallout, which Clark likes a lot. I really like Presumed Innocent on Apple Plus. Also worth watching is Am I Okay with Dakota Johnson. That's on Max. And Jenny Nicholson's 4-hour take on the Star Wars Hotel is on YouTube. And unlike Jay, I have the time. I'll probably watch the whole thing today.
You guys should visit our sponsor, stevensinger.com. He is a phenomenal person and a great owner of a great store. You can also check out Loud by Angelo Cataldi. Look, it's right above his shoulder right there. Go to angelocataldi.com or get it on Amazon or Audible. I prefer the Audible version because I like to have Angelo tell me his story in his own voice. If you go right now to our podcast app and you see a little sign that says send us a text message, if you click on that, we cannot respond to you directly, but we get all of it. I forward it along to Angelo and Rhea the moment we get it, and we that sometimes tells us what our show topic is going to be. So if you have suggestions or feedback or a 1-star review for Angelo, he will track you down and find you out. Rate and review us on any app that we're on so that people can find the show. We're growing every week thanks to you. And we will be back next week with great TV insight. Thank you, guys.